Welcome, everyone. Today's story is about the incredible power of positive thinking and how it can transform an ordinary life into an extraordinary one. The title of our story, Think Positive, Become Powerful, teaches us that true power does not come from money, fame, or physical strength. Real power comes from the mind. When a person learns to control thoughts, focus on possibilities instead of problems, and keep moving forward despite difficulties, that person becomes mentally strong and capable of achieving great things. Through this story, you will learn that positive thinking is not about ignoring challenges. It is about believing that challenges can be overcome. Let us begin this inspiring journey. There was once a young individual who lived in a small town surrounded by fields and quiet roads. Life seemed simple from the outside, but inside, there was a constant struggle. Every day began with doubt and ended with disappointment. Whenever something went wrong, the first thought was always negative. If a task seemed difficult, it was assumed that failure was certain. If an opportunity appeared, fear quickly replaced excitement. This way of thinking slowly became a habit. Over time, even small problems felt like huge mountains. Every setback seemed like proof that success belonged to other people. The world appeared unfair, and the future looked uncertain. Because of these thoughts, many chances were missed. Dreams remained dreams because there was never enough confidence to pursue them. The person believed that life was controlled by luck, and unfortunately, luck never seemed to be on their side. One day, while walking through the town feeling frustrated after another disappointing experience, the individual noticed an elderly gardener working in a park. The gardener looked cheerful despite the hot weather and the hard work. Curious, the young person sat nearby and watched. The gardener carefully watered small plants, removed weeds, and smiled as if every task brought joy. After a while, the young person asked, "How can you be so happy while doing such difficult work every day?" The gardener paused, looked at the plants, and replied, "Because I understand something important. Every garden grows according to what is planted in it. If I plant flowers, flowers will grow. If I allow weeds to take over, weeds will grow. The mind works exactly the same way." The words seemed simple, but they stayed in the young person's mind long after the conversation ended. That evening, those words echoed repeatedly. The idea that thoughts were like seeds felt strange at first, yet it made sense. Looking back, it became clear that negative thoughts had been planted for years. Every doubt, every fear, every assumption of failure was like a weed growing stronger day after day. Suddenly, it was understood that the real enemy was not bad luck or difficult circumstances. The real enemy was a mindset that expected failure before even trying. For the first time, there was a realization that perhaps life could change if thoughts changed first. The next morning, a decision was made to conduct an experiment. Instead of beginning the day with negative thoughts, positive statements would be used. Whenever doubt appeared, it would be replaced with belief. Whenever fear appeared, it would be challenged with courage. The change was not easy. Years of negative thinking cannot disappear overnight. Many times, old habits tried to return. However, the individual remained determined. Every morning began with encouraging thoughts. Every mistake became a lesson instead of a reason to quit. Every challenge became an opportunity to grow. Slowly, a small but important transformation began. Weeks passed, and noticeable changes started to appear. Confidence increased. Tasks that once seemed impossible now felt manageable. Conversations became easier because there was less fear of judgment. Opportunities that had previously been ignored were now accepted with enthusiasm. The individual discovered that positive thinking did not magically remove obstacles. Problems still existed. Difficult situations still happened. The difference was that problems no longer felt overwhelming. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" the question became, What can I learn from this? This simple shift created a powerful new perspective. Several months later, an opportunity arrived that would test this new mindset. A competition was announced in a nearby city. The winner would receive training, mentorship, and access to opportunities that could change a career forever. In the past, the young individual would have immediately decided not to participate. Fear of failure would have won. This time, however, things were different. Although nervous, the individual submitted an application and began preparing. The preparation process was challenging. There were moments of self-doubt and exhaustion. There were competitors who seemed more talented and experienced. Yet every time negative thoughts appeared, they were replaced with positive action. Instead of focusing on weaknesses, effort was focused on improvement. As the competition approached, pressure increased. Many participants spoke confidently about their achievements. The young individual occasionally felt intimidated. However, a new understanding had developed. Success was not about being perfect. Success was about continuing despite imperfections. This belief provided strength during difficult moments. Day after day, preparation continued. Skills improved. Confidence grew. Most importantly, the individual learned to trust personal potential. Finally, the day of the competition arrived. Hundreds of people gathered from different places. The atmosphere was intense. Some participants appeared nervous, while others looked confident. Standing among them, the young individual felt fear once again. But this time, fear was not allowed to take control. Instead of imagining failure, the mind focused on possibility. Instead of worrying about mistakes, attention was directed toward giving the best effort. This positive focus created calmness. When it was time to perform, the individual gave everything possible. The results were announced later that evening. The young person did not win first place. For a brief moment, disappointment appeared. However, something remarkable happened. Unlike the past, the result did not feel like failure. It felt like progress. Participating itself had been a victory. The experience had built confidence, knowledge, and resilience. Unexpectedly, one of the judges approached and offered encouragement. The judge explained that although the performance was not perfect, the determination and growth shown during the competition were impressive. Because of this, a special opportunity was offered to join a development program. That moment became a turning point. The opportunity opened new doors and introduced new experiences. Over the following years, the individual learned valuable skills, met inspiring people, and achieved goals that once seemed impossible. Success did not arrive instantly. It came through consistent effort, learning, and perseverance. Yet through every challenge, one lesson remained clear. Positive thinking had started the entire transformation. It had not changed circumstances overnight, but it had changed the way circumstances were approached. That change made all the difference. As time passed, the individual often remembered the gardener and the lesson about seeds. The truth of those words became more obvious with every experience. Positive thoughts had grown into confidence. Confidence had grown into action. Action had grown into achievement. Just as a garden flourishes when cared for properly, a life flourishes when the mind is filled with constructive and empowering thoughts. The person who once expected failure had become someone who expected growth. The person who once feared challenges had become someone who welcomed them. Real power had emerged, not from external success, but from internal strength. Eventually, the individual returned to the same park where the journey had begun. The gardener was still there, patiently caring for the plants. With gratitude, the individual shared the story of transformation and success. The gardener smiled and said, "You discovered something many people never learn. The strongest force in life is not circumstance. It is the way you think about circumstance." Looking around at the beautiful garden, the individual finally understood the full meaning of those words. Every flower standing proudly in the sunlight had once been a tiny seed. Every achievement in life begins the same way, with a thought. The lesson of this story is simple but powerful. Positive thinking does not mean pretending that life is easy. It means choosing hope over fear, solutions over excuses, and growth over defeat. Your thoughts shape your actions, and your actions shape your future. If you constantly focus on limitations, you will feel weak. If you focus on possibilities, you will become stronger every day. The mind is like a garden. Whatever you plant and nurture will eventually grow. Plant confidence, courage, gratitude, and determination, and your life will begin to reflect those qualities.